Okay, welcome guys again. Welcome to our session. So I can't find this thing now. Okay, I found it. Perfect. So what we're doing on our last session, I think we'll just leave it there, leave it at what we did last, and just explain a couple of things. We're basically comparing between two methods, the variable costing method and the absorption costing method. So we're looking at those two methods, how you basically prepare the financial statements for that. So we started off with the variable costing method, which we said the difference between these two methods will be, the difference between these two methods will be on the valuation of closing inventory, for starters, the valuation of our inventories. Variable costing method only takes into consideration those manufacturing costs which are variable, and then full costing method obviously is going to take into consideration all the total costs, which is both variable and the fixed costs. So here we're looking at budgeted information basically. So variable costing method again starts us off with the calculations of contribution. So once you see contribution, you know it's variable costing method, right? So contribution, what is contribution? It's your sales less your total variable cost. So once you deduct those two amounts there, it's going to give you your contribution. Whereas on the other side, the absorption costing method will give you gross profit, which is your sales minus your cost of sales. So which is a lot easier there. And then there, when you're deducting, you're basically going to be removing all the period costs there. So that's the major difference with that. But today now, I think last time I did say that was really a simple question, a very good introductory question. But today we are going to look at something that is more comprehensive, something which basically represents what we deal with in this module. So your first test, guys, if you're doing the year module, don't expect anything complicated on that test there. It's the first topic. Oh, sorry, I was unmuted. I just didn't see. I kept talking and talking. All right. So I was saying, make 3761. Don't expect anything complicated, nothing complex. I just haven't checked everything, but what we have here is something that is comprehensive, that covers basically everything in your outline for that module. So nothing complex there. And then for you guys, we are doing this, which is due on the 25th of April. So once I'm done with this, I think I'm going to share it as a spreadsheet. Then you can add whatever you want to add there, subtract what you want to subtract there. Just basically personalize it there. But most importantly, we are going through it today. So like in any question paper, we want to start off with the required. So we can decide what we are going to deal with. I hope we are done by 4. So part A says calculate EDD's break-even sales units per product.
Mr. Dando, you are not audible.
Oh, am I talking too low?
Yes,
sorry.
You were.
Sorry about that. Sorry about that. Let me increase this volume. Let me speak with good tone. All right. So the first part now, when they say break-even sales units for per product type, so it gives us an idea that we are obviously dealing with more than one product type here. So keep that in mind. And then we need to prepare the actual statement of profit or loss. This is very simple. I think after the calculations that we do on A will be very much geared up for part B. Now your part, briefly identify and discuss 3 social and ethical concerns that ECG is faced during 2022 financial year. Right. And then besides the social and ethical concerns identified in question C, briefly identify and discuss 5 additional business risks that ETG faced during. So that's another five added points that we need to come up with there. So I'm gonna be getting most of your input here. Maybe if I can, I don't know if we should put it earlier or we put it much later. Right, or we put it much later. I don't know, but I think much later once we are geared up. And then from there, of course, we'll be doing this variance analysis here from part E, right? And then budgeted optimum mix. So we are still here, we are still on variable costing there. Some of the methods used. Comment on whether or not the shortcut method. Okay, this one you can pick that up yourself. I think I'll come in on the actual statements there. Maybe we'll start off with the preparation of the actual statement there. So once you get the sheet, you can rearrange it anyhow. Yeah. You can edit it and rearrange it anyhow, put things in order. Based on your answer in G, calculate the equivalent cost per unit. All right. The memorandum. Okay. We'll be evaluating the calculations there. And then 3 non-financial measures used to evaluate the performance. All right, so maybe let's start off with part G. Right. Maybe we can start off with part G here. I think I remember I haven't done this in a long time, so I'll be very much excited if we can start off there. Okay, maybe what I'm going to do is to share the screen. Is to share the screen this way, right? So we can be able to maneuver, right? We can be able to maneuver. Right, so we need to prepare the actual statement. So that is part II, right? Let's say so that people don't get confused on this. This is on part what? This is part G, right? Required part G. Part G, right? So we are preparing the actual quantity statement for this company, for ETD. So with these quantity statements, they come standard here for UNISA, right? It's probably different from what you would get from the textbook. I don't know the other textbook that you guys use. I haven't seen this part there, but it probably is the same because it's required by UNISA. But some other management textbooks don't use this format. But I think the format that we use here is a lot simpler and is a lot, comprehensive and understandable, basically. So if you check that, I think you can basically look it up from the second level study guides if it's not there in your textbook. It starts off there with input, right? And then what you would have there from input, let's say, you might want to have your details there. You might want to have your details. And then let's say, and let's put the output there, right? Let's put the output there, right? And then obviously we'll have the direct. RM is raw materials here, right? So this is gonna have 2 columns. It's looking very long. That's gonna have 2 columns, and then we can have our conversion there. All right, our conversion. So obviously what we have on the direct material and the direct materials and the conversion there is our calculation of equivalent units. Equivalent units right through there. All right, that's what we get there. And then over on this side, we are dealing with the physical units, right through all the way. That's what we are faced with there. All right, so hopefully we will be dealing with kgs. So let's put our kgs here. All right, and then our output is just our output. And then for our direct materials, it's going to be kgs on this side. Let's put it in the middle. Kgs on this side, and then over here, we want our percentage. Okay, so this is what we do also on this side. So we can as well copy that there. That's what we basically do. So before you start your question now, this is what you have in mind. So let's go and decide now what the question wants. So we are dealing with the actual statement for 2022. I think this must have been an exam last year. I can't remember, but I remember doing this. Okay. Actual information for the month of December 2022. This is what we are dealing with. So when dealing with process costing, by the way, just to give you a brief background on this, process costing, we need to know for theory's purposes, under what circumstances is it suitable for you to use process costing? Right. Under what circumstances? I think you can check that out for yourselves. Under what circumstances do you make use of process costing? So this is something that is not batch costing, process costing. Say, maybe you are manufacturing some liquid soap, whatever it is that you're doing, but anything that has to undergo a process, just read that, just read along that, under what circumstances. But before we delve into the question, we need to be aware now of which method is being used here for the valuation of inventory. So we use these to value our inventories. So at the end of the day, for costing of our inventory, so at the end of the day, we need to know what method they are using. So the division operates a process costing system in the manufacturing of citrus performance. Effervescent tablets, bazooka. Okay, ETD values all inventory types using the weighted average costing. So we are using the weighted average costing here. So we have that information there. So we'll see hopefully towards the end of the session where this weighted average method would differ from the one that we are using here. That's the one that we are using here. All right. Right, let's go for it. Right, so now that we know we are using the weighted average costing method, then we basically know now what format we are going to use there, the slight difference that we need to adjust to. All right, so the actual information now. Normal losses in the form of broken and rejected tablets should amount to 5% of the direct raw materials added. All right. These broken and rejected tablets are identified at 80% completion. So this and that is very, very, very important. It's very, very important. The issue of your normal costs here can either make or break you on this question. So we need to take that one seriously. So on the actual information on the 30th of November 2022, so we are dealing with December. So at the beginning of the period, there was 3,000 kgs of work in progress, which was 90% complete. So let's put that through. Let's put all that information there. Right. So what do we have? Let's do this here. I don't want to write down figures that I can't understand anymore. Right. Right. Let's hope this is gonna work like this. So we have got 3,000 kgs. Oh, okay. These were not reduced. Let's see if it's gonna work now. If we wanna reduce this when there is right, so this is what we've done. Let's just take it out like that. 3,000. I hope this is looking good for everyone so far. Right, let's make this bold. Perfect. So at the beginning of the period, this is what we have. what do we call that? Opening right, WIP. Let's write it like that. Opening WIP. That is what we have there. So far, so good. And then, so we know that that was 90% to completion, right? And then the direct raw materials included work in progress for that amount, and then manufacturing overheads for that amount. So we can skip that because we want the quantity statement there, right? And then 16 tons of direct raw materials costing 1.6 million were added. So this is a quantity statement. We only are interested in the quantity. So what is 16 tons? 16 tons, this is 3 tons. Ne? This is 3 tons. So 16 tons is basically going to be 16,000. So this is what we are adding in 16 into 3, 16,000, right? So this is what do we call that? This is our input. This is what we are putting in, right? The new stuff that we are putting in, right? And then from there, we can let all this one go now because we are dealing with, because we are basically dealing with, what are we dealing with? We are basically dealing with other method. Let's make this gray like this so we know we are not putting anything there. We are dealing with the weighted costing method. Right. So ideally then for all situations, we should then have, sorry, we need this here. We should then have here completed and transferred. Completed and transferred, right? So from here going down for all methods is the same. The difference is just there, right? I'll explain that a little bit later. So let's see what was completed and transferred there. So by the way, this is standard, right? I'm taking this from the format, from second level format. If ever you're going to be doing this question alone, just go to the format and then know what you're supposed to put next, what after what, and then you pretty much come right on that. All right, so we've added 16 tons, all right, and then current direct labor overhead. So we are not interested in monies, we leave that. 60,000 units were completed, right? 60,000 units were completed in the month. So what was completed now is 60,000. So what's that 60,000 in kilograms? Because here, if you look, we are dealing with kilograms, and there we are dealing with kilograms. So let's convert this 60,000 here into kgs. Let's see what that is. So it's 60,000 units. The tablets are packaged in plastic tubes of 200 grams each, which represent 1 unit. So which means 200 grams is a unit. So how many kgs is a whole of that there? So it's going to be 200 grams times 60,000 divided by 1,000, basically. That's what we are doing there. So nothing complex. So the amount that we need, therefore, there is going to be, we said it's 60,000 units, and then times, 60,000 units times 200 grams divided by 1,000. Yeah? So that should basically give us that 12,000 there. Right. That would basically give us that 12,000 there. Right. So under this method, it doesn't matter whether the 12,000 is coming from opening work in progress or what was newly put in here, that 16,000. We simply treat all those the same. We simply treat all those amounts the same. So there we pretty much have the same amount there, right? And then there again, we can pretty much have the same amount, right? We don't have any problems there so far. So they are all done and complete. Right. The next thing that you would want to deal with from this point is the normal loss. Right. Is the normal loss. And then we can of course have an abnormal, which we don't know, right? Abnormal loss. Oops. or gain. Eh? So again, it's going to be negative there. Right, I'm just going to talk about what that is shortly, and then we want closing inventory there. All right, and then we can then have our totals right through there. Maybe let me put this like that, so we can underline. Okay, so what happens now is in almost every manufacturing process, there are what we call normal losses. So these are losses that are budgeted for. These are the losses that are expected. You see, like if you are, let's say if you are cooking and you decide to do your cooking as such a statement in actual quantity statement, you'll expect that you will have certain spillages, sometimes due to things like evaporation and the like. So these are normal within the manufacturing process. You see, so they are included and they are expected. Right? Then an abnormal loss is therefore something that is unbudgeted for, something that is unplanned for. So this indeed is a loss, right? This indeed is a loss. It's unbudgeted for, right? So closing inventory here, we are dealing with, let me just specify WIP, work in progress in particular. That's what we are dealing with. So let's see what we can fill in there and what we can't fill in. Right. This is easy to get to. 5,000 kgs of work in progress is 75% complete. So this is the closing work in progress there. So it's 5,000, which is 75% to completion. So let's fill that up there. Right. So there you go. Right. So in terms of units, somebody's interrupting me now. All right. In terms of units, sorry, maybe I should just take this call shortly. Just give me a second. All right, so our kgs there, we have 5,000 and then they're at 100%. Now we want to deal with this year, which is going to be at 75%, which is going to be at 75%. All right, let's go back again. So I explain where this is coming from. So we have on the one side, the materials that we bought, and then on the other side, we are working on those materials. So when we look at working on the material, that's where we start dealing with what we call conversion costs. So what are conversion costs? If you recall well from our definitions earlier in the course, we said conversion costs are basically direct materials, or actually not direct materials, sorry, direct labor and overheads. So it's basically what you are putting into the cost that you incur in converting your materials into finished products. So we call those conversion costs. So when we talk of materials being 75% complete, we are therefore referring now to a situation where your conversion costs have gone 75%. You see, your materials, the costs are going to be fixed. They will always be 100% there. So that's why we have that there as 100%. All right, so let's see now what we do. So which means in terms of equivalent units, it's going to be 75% times 5,000 there. So 5,000 times 0.75. So that's where those amounts are basically going to be coming from there. So we've multiplied that and that. So we are good with that. But in total there, let's see what we are supposed to have put in there in total. In total, we are supposed to have, oh, okay, I think this is let's do this again. I like what was happening there. All right, from A5 to A11. No, I don't want from A5. Let's take from A6, right? Still the same amount though. All right, there we go. We have our 19,000 there as the total. So whatever happens here at the end of the day, we must have dealt with 19,000 units in total. This is what we should have done. That's the total output, right? Including both what was the opening inventory plus what was put in. So what was put in here obviously includes that 5,000 there, né? Obviously includes that 5,000, which is the closing inventory, right? So that is what's happening right there. Okay, so we can easily now deal with this part here. So this is where I want you to pay much attention. The issue of I want us to deal with the normal loss now, because that's what we should attend to next, the normal loss. Right, with the normal loss, let's have a look at the statement. Normal losses are 5% of whatever is added, 5%. So ideally, 5% of everything. But what's important now is where does this normal loss occur? In which part of the production process does the normal losses occur? So which is where we assume the abnormal losses also occur. So these broken and rejected templates are identified at 80% to completion. Very good, 80% to completion. So in total, this is what we put in, 3,000 and 16,000. So we put in a total of 19,000. So ideally, if all these units need to undergo a normal loss, then it means it's gonna be 5% of this 19,000. That is if all units need to undergo that process. But we need to be more careful now to check which ones of those units qualify to be put in there. So if the point of normal loss is at 80% there, it's at 80%, right? By the end of the year, we need to check which ones of those have gone through 80%. In other words, have basically been have undergone the normal loss process. So we specifically want to watch out for the opening inventory and the closing inventories there, whether or not they have passed this 80% mark. So if you take, for instance, the opening inventory here, we are told that it's 90% to completion. Right? So what this basically means is when we put in this at the beginning of the period, so which is on the 30th of November 2022, when this was still work in progress, it had already gone up to 90%. So which means the normal loss for this was incurred in the month of November, because it's already at 90%, it has gone over 80%. So which means in December, this is not going to form part of our normal losses. That's logical enough, right? Then we go again and look at our this one here, right? Our closing inventory. Let's assess our closing inventory. So at the end of the period now, our closing inventory is at 75% to completion, right? At 75% to completion. Has it gone past 80%? It has not gone past 80%, right? It's still on 75%. So which means this is gonna go beyond 75% in the next period. So which is gonna be which is only gonna be above 80% in January, somewhere thereabout in January. So which means our 5% should therefore exclude our opening work in progress and should exclude our closing work in progress, because those ones incur the normal loss on different periods. Right? So we are only dealing with December. So we want the normal loss for December. All right, so which means, how do we go about that? Now we are not including 3,000, neither are we including 5,000, right? So we need to, on our calculations there, we basically need to exclude those amounts. So normal loss units, so it will basically be in total, we put in 19,000, but of that 19,000, 3,000 was the opening inventory from the previous period, and it had already gone over the 80% mark, so we need to deduct it. Closing inventory is at 75%, so nothing has happened so far on it. Right. No normal loss can be accounted there. It will only be in the next period. So what's the amount there? This is going to be 19,000 minus 3,000 minus 5,000 minus 5,000. So that's basically it there. So we are dealing with inventory of 11,000. That's going to undergo the normal loss process. Right. So what else do we then do? This is then going to be 11,000. So 11,000 of the units that we already know are going to be subjected to the normal loss. We need to then do the normal loss of 5% there. We will then do the normal loss of 5% there. So which is going to be 0.05 times 11,000. So that gives us 550. So only 550 there goes to our normal losses. All right. That's what we have there. Very easy. So at the end of the day, these here have to add up to, excuse me, all these here have to add up to 19,000, right? Any discrepancy there is going to fall under an abnormal loss or an abnormal gain. Any discrepancy there. So easy way to find that, it's going to be 19,000 minus 5,000, the balancing figure here, né? Minus 12,000. That's the balancing figure. So we've got a very huge normal abnormal loss there. Easy, very easy, right? That's very easy there. All right, but what about in terms of direct materials now? Right, in terms of direct materials, so these are generally going to be the same for direct materials because we are dealing with materials. Materials are materials, right? Materials will always be materials. So these amounts here are the same, right? And we expect that they are going to be 100%. 100%. Right, but let's deal with the conversion costs. Let us deal with the conversion costs. In dealing with the conversion costs now, the units are the same, but we need to check now the level of completion, right? When this occurs. So this occurs at what? At 80%.
80%.
Perfect. So that's what we are dealing with now. So you basically take the same units. So we are dealing with equivalent units. So it's that there times 80%. And then those other units there times 0.8. So this is what you basically have there. So we want our quantity statement. So in terms of units now, for our direct materials expense, we are using, let's sum that up. We are using this total here. You basically add everything there. 90,000, the units are 90,000, 19,000, right? Right? But what about here? The units are definitely going to be something else, right? The units are not going to be the same. So we're going to sum that up. And then, okay, I got that wrong there. All right. So these are our equivalent units there. So we will see now where we need to make use of that. We're going to see now where we need to make use of that on part number 2. I think this was a nice question to start off with because it's an easy question. Right. So based on part H now. All right, based on that, we need to calculate the equivalent costs now. So this is just for 3 marks. So based on your answer in G, so we are now on required F. Ne? So based on your answer in G, then you basically need to calculate what what those costs are for the period. Ne? So we basically want the cost per unit, the manufacturing cost per unit here. All right. So materials at the end of the day, we have all these materials there. And then, yeah. And then other than that, we have the, what we have? We have this one here, the equivalent units. All right, so let's check where we fetch our information now. Where we fetch that information. Right, so now we need to see the costs, right? Now we need to see the cost. So at the end of the day, we are using the weighted cost method. Yeah? We are using the weighted cost method. So on the 30th of November, we had 3,000 of work in progress, and then we basically, the direct raw materials included there was 262, and then direct labor and manufacturing overheads, which is the conversion, was at 558,500. All right. And then from there, the direct material that was added was 1.6, and then the direct labor and manufacturing overheads amounted to that. So we basically need now, right, let's say we can make a column for direct materials. I'm trying to think on my feet, right? A column for direct materials there. You don't really have to use the formats that I give. You can basically use your own format. And then, all right, this one, let's say conversion costs. Conversion costs. So this is just for 3 marks. No need to overthink. Ne? All right, so what do we have here? We have opening work in progress. Ne? Opening work in progress. Let's write that as it is, opening. All right, so how much did it cost us? It was 262 and 558,500. 558,500. And then again, let's say on the current production, this is also given, right? You can basically, raw materials is 1.6, that one there is 1.35. Okay, I skipped this. This is supposed to be, oops. Right, this is supposed to be here. Okay. Right. Let's do it like that. Let's do that one like that. All right, so we need the total of these now. So our inventory, all the inventory that we put in, basically cost us that amount there, in terms of conversion costs, and then in terms of raw materials, that was the cost. But we need the cost per unit, so this is where this one comes in. Equivalent cost per unit. Please, if you have any questions, you can ask them. 19,000 units, and then here it's 17,350. Right, so what are we looking for? We need cost per unit. Right. So which is gonna be the total cost divided by the number of units, right? Which is the equivalent units. We do the same on that one. Basically gives us that. Right. So what then would be our total cost per unit? It's basically 98 plus 110. So which is going to give you a healthy 108 there. Right. So far, so good. So far, so good. Any questions, guys? Any questions? Please ask questions because we are leaving this behind. We are leaving this one behind. So where you'd have a difference now, where you'd have a difference with the other method is on the other method, we basically draw up a distinction between the materials, right? We basically draw up a distinction between the materials. Maybe we will leave that for the other time, but here you would basically have values for your opening work in progress, based on the percentages that were there. The assumption there is first in, first out. So we are going to sell this one first, and then this one is going to remain. Unlike here, where we are basically mixing up everything, opening inventory and inventory that we acquired during the period to basically come up with one cost for all. You see, so that's the difference there with that. All right, let's jump to question number 1. Maybe let's do question A, required part A. So you can as well rearrange this later. You just copy and repaste it, cut and repaste it. Required A, what do they want? Right. Ignoring implications of any implications of any opening and closing work in progress. That sounds better there. Right. So what do we know about break-even sales? We know the formula. Ne? If we fail anywhere else, we wouldn't fail on the formula. Who remembers it? I hope you do. Fixed cost divided by weighted. Okay, this is not the correct spelling for weighted. All right, weighted contribution. Contribution. So what does that give us? Basically gives us a break-even batch. Let's say a break-even batch. That's what that one gives us there. But we will put this on working number 1, and then we're gonna put this one on working. Right, let's write 1 as 1. Calculation 1, and then this one we'll put on calculation 2. All right. So this is right where we are now. Right, maybe let's pick it up from there on the calculator where our marks are coming from. Calculations. 1, fixed costs. Right, let's fetch the fixed costs. Now we are dealing with from A to E, it relates to the 2022 financial year. So let's go back. So if it's on question A, it's most likely this is what we are most likely dealing with here. The budgeted information, we need the budgeted break even. So we are dealing with budgeted information. So let's see, since we decided to start off on the fixed costs, let's see where we can get information on our fixed costs. Information on our fixed costs. All right. We have some there, and then we have others there. All right. And then here it's variable all the way to the top. So fixed costs, fixed manufacturing overheads cost budgeted at 35 million is allocated etc. Let's leave that for the other question. So it's gonna be 35 million. All right. 35 million, and the other one is 50 million. So 35 plus 50. So let's say 35. This is million. plus 50. Why I normally, if you wondered why I normally write this and cut out zeros like this, I once wrote an exam some time back, which was so confusing, and what added to the confusion was the amount of zeros. We're dealing with billions. It really got so confusing that I figured out the best thing to do all the time is to simplify your workings, right? To simplify your workings there, right? But okay, now let's just do it the right way, né? Since we basically want to get an accurate amount of numbers there. All right, so on part A, we are okay now. We need part B now, number 2, sorry. 85 million. So what are we dividing that by? Let's find out. So that there is our calculation for weighted contribution. Weighted contribution starts off with our calculation for contribution, right? So which is selling price. Then what do we less from the selling price? Total variable costs per unit. That's what we need to less there. Right. How many products are we dealing with? Let's have a look. Net, bolt and net. Né? We're dealing with bolt and net. So we take that. Let's put it there. Maybe we can do that somewhere there. All right. And then we can again have net. So this you can pick it up from any part of the question. Né? You can just look at the two products that they are dealing with there. Bolt and net. All right. Right, let's start from the top and see what we can include there. Okay, so I hope we have enough space for calculations. Right, so let me just take this a little bit further here. I'm just not sure how much of the calculations, how much of the calculation space we need there. All right, so we need per unit, so we are dealing with per unit. We are not dealing with per unit. So ED manufactures that capacity there and buys prepared water. Okay, so I think we can start off there. The maximum manufacturing capacity is based on the availability of prepared water. EDD buys prepared water exclusively from Quench at 2 rand per liter. And then a maximum of 5 million liters of prepared water will be made available by Quench. Each liter of energy drink requires 900 mils of that there. 900 mils of water. It means basically we make use of that liter there, then after our manufacturing process, we get 900 milliliters of energy drink. 900 mils, yes, 900 mils of energy. So that's just about all the information that we have there with regards to the size of that, yeah? With regards to the size. So which means a can is basically going to be 900 mils. There's no other information provided there. So our assumption is it's going to be 900 mils. Each liter of energy drink requires 900 mils of water. All right. That's what we are dealing with now. Sometimes the English can be confusing here. No? All right. So if now we are dealing with these cans now, these cans, and then these cans basically give us 900 milliliters. These cans, they are basically 900 milliliters. So we need to make sure that at whatever point we are aware of this fact. Right? We are aware of this fact. All right. Let's work it out now. So starting off with our water, let's start off with our water since it appears first there. We are buying this water. Ne? So how much are we buying this water for? Let's assess the statement again. So we are buying prepared water, which is at 2 rand per liter. Then we have that maximum. Each liter of energy drink requires 900 mils of water. Each liter basically requires 900 mils of water. All right. So what then would be our cost? Right. What then would be our cost? Right. If each liter of energy drink basically requires 900 mils of water. Anyone there? What would you guys think? I need to hear a different opinion on this before I arrive at the conclusion. All right, very good. So from what we see here, okay. Oh, sorry. Okay, this is what. Okay, sorry, I had skipped this here. That's why I was also getting a little bit confused now. Okay, so we have Bolt is sold at cans of 250 mils, and then net is sold at 500 mils. So let's cut all this 900 mils crap. Now we've got the information that we need, 250 and 500. So what you think now on this one? If now we are saying it's 2 rand per liter, right? So we are only focusing on this one here because we need the cost. So this one is 2 rand per liter. That's our cost there. And then each liter of energy drink requires 900 mils of water.
Then that would be 2 rands times 1,000 milliliters divided by the 900 mils to get the cost for one. Yeah, for a bottle, for a one. To get a cost per unit.
So 2 times 900 divided by 1,000.
Yes.
I heard you rightly. And then we multiply that by
the number of units produced.
Yes, so which is basically the meals there. So we are dealing with this in terms of meals anyway. All right. So let's put that down there. So it's gonna be 2, which is the cost, right? And then we know again, yeah, times 900, which is this amount here, which is what we get basically. Each liter of energy drink requires that one there. So which is gonna be basically 900 divided by, which is 0.9, but we need to put it the right way. 900 divided by 1,000. Right. So times what does this give us now? Yes, times the unit. So this basically gives us the cost per milliliter. No? Basically gives us that cost per milliliter.
The cost per every 900 milliliters.
The cost per every 900 milliliters.
Yes.
All right. And then we multiply
180.
180. Right.
Multiplied by the multiplied by 250 mils. That's gonna be a little.
All right.
I thought there was a number of units. Okay, let's see.
All right. So you wanna give it a try first before I say it out.
Okay, the 250 mils. Is it the number of cans? I mean, the number of. The volume sold.
So each can is packaged at 250 mils and another one at 500 mils.
Okay, let's go again. Each can is 250 mils. And the other one is 500 mils.
500 mils.
Yes. And then we're costing for a 900 mils.
For a 900 mils, yes.
So
basically, yeah. Yes.
So I'm saying, shouldn't we consider, because here I see a bolt is 250 and Ned is 500 mils, and here it says a liter of energy drink requires 900 mils, which means 4 cans of bolt, they require 900 mils of water. Not sure what I'm lost, but I think 250 mils is equals to 1 liter. Sorry, 4 times 250 mils is equals to 1 liter, and here it says 1 liter of energy.
Yes. So what I agree with all that you are saying, but now what we do, because my method, I use a different method here, which you are actually gonna use for this, but I need to know your logic also on that one. So which is, we are okay now, we are dealing with 450 mils in there. Okay, how I normally want to simplify this one for myself, usually, is to, we are given the cost here per liter, right? We are given here the cost per liter, and then we are told each liter of energy drink requires 900 mils of water, right? So which means per every liter of energy drink, we are basically going to be taking in 0.9, which is 90% of that is going to be water, right? So if you want to find, for instance, the cost per liter here, right? The cost per liter is given here as 2. But now if you want to find, but then now if you want to find the amount of water in each liter of energy drink, that will therefore be 90% of what's given there.
So does that mean that 180, which is a liter, will manufacture 4 by bolt cans?
So now that's per liter, ne?
Yes.
That's per liter, true. And then now we need to find out if what that would be now in milliliters. I don't know now if it's making sense, because this cost is per liter, but we are multiplying that in milliliters. So you can even convert these milliliters into liters either way.
It will be 0.025.
Yeah. So which means here we are okay so far, we're in agreement. So which means the cost of water that we want to put in per liter is going to be 90%, right? Per liter, because we are not buying and selling water, no. We are buying water to put into our process. So we are saying, we require 90% for every liter of cold drink.
So it will be 250 liters.
Divided by 1,000.
Divided by 1,000. Yeah, it's 0.0.
It's 0.25.
Sorry.
0.25. So we multiply that by 0.25. What about for the other one?
It will be the same formula multiplied by 0.5.
0.5. Perfect. So are we cleared on this one? So my approach on this, because I know it's really confusing, is to first find the cost per liter, or the cost per, in this case, the cost per liter in terms of what we are going to put into our calculation. So now we said water itself costs 2 rands per liter, but we don't need a full liter to make up a liter of energy drink. Yeah. We don't need a full liter. This here is energy drink. This is not water. Ne? This is energy drink there. So hence we said 2. Then how many liters? So which means 2 times how many liters of water do we need per liter of cold drink, times 900 divided by 1,000, which is 90% there. Then you got that amount that you got. So that's per liter, the price. Then we multiply that by that, having converted it to a liter. So this is where most of the thinking comes in there. So 2 times 0.9. Right. So I've done my shortcuts there.
Okay.
Then we have another 2 times 0.9 times 0.5. Right. Okay, so we are okay on that one. The company is budgeted to produce, okay, we don't need this because we're dealing with per unit so far. Ne? Bolt is sold at 17 per can, and that one is 24 per can. Ne? So 17
Okay.
and 24, this one, we just put it in 17 and 24. Right. Maybe let's put two decimal places. Like this.
I think it will
Right.
be 4-5.
On this one, wait, sorry. On which one? This one
Okay,
here.
let me recalculate.
Yeah, please. Oh, yes, you are right. Sorry, I put 2.8 here. 4.5, yeah, you are right. Sorry
It's
about that.
4-5.
Makes sense because this 0.25 is half of that
0.5, yes.
Yeah. Thank you for recalculating. Please keep it up. Ne? Please keep the recalculation up. All right, so we have no opening inventory or closing inventory. Sugar is budgeted at 25 per kgs and
There you
0.6
go
is
again
used
with
to
the
produce
cages.
1 liter of water. All right, so with sugar, we are only dealing with Bolt. Ne? We are only dealing with Bolt.
So
let's
Ned is
try and use-
sugarless,
Ned uses, they say artificial
artificial.
sweetener.
Oh, okay, okay.
So the
So
cost
it's
on this one,
25 rand per kilogram
right, let's do it that way. 25 rand per kg
times 0.16.
is used to produce 1 liter. So times 0.16.
Divided by 100 times the
So wait, so we said the budgeted total is,
for 1
the budgeted is 25 kgs, and then we only need 0.16 to produce 1 liter of manufactured. Okay, so since we are not doing 1 liter, we are doing what? This one is 0.25. Ne?
0.25, yes.
Yeah, then the other way in which you could have done that is to put 250, then you divide that again by 1000, which is slightly longer, but it's still acceptable. So that one
So
becomes
it's
25.
25 times 1, 0.16. Okay, it's a 1.
You're getting 1 also. Perfect. Then
Okay.
artificial sweetener. So let's see. Oh, okay.
It's,
I think I'm recording there. Okay.
It's a 162 kg
162 kgs times
times 0.11.
0.11. Ne? Perfect.
Yes.
And then times
0.5.
0.5 on that one.
It's gonna
Okay.
be 736.36, I think.
736.36.
Hey,
wait, let's see.
let me recalculate.
162 times, please recalculate.
162.
Times 0.11.
Oh, my calculator, I need to clear in memory. I was calculating something else. Yes, I've got the same answer.
Same answer. Perfect. Right now we are jumping to, we are done with sugar. Both Bolt and Ned use caffeine. Right. Okay, let's take the caffeine. All right, let's see what our caffeine story is. So they say here, caffeine was budgeted at 169 per 100 grams, and 80 milligrams is used for that one there.
Yeah, and they're becoming smaller now. Yo.
So sorry. So
Okay, and 80 milligram is required per 250 mils. Yo.
250 mils. Right. So
All right.
basically, all right, you tell me.
It's
anyone.
169 times
169.
0.10. That is the cost per gram.
Oh, okay. Where did we? I think I missed it. Oh, okay, which is a gram there.
Yes, it's 169 divided by the 100 grams.
Oh, okay. So, okay, I see. Let me not write. Let me wait for you to. Okay, to finish.
So
Divided by.
it's 169 times the 0.10.
Okay, times.
So it's
Okay.
16 rands 90 per gram. So multiplied
Okay.
by the 80. I don't know if I'm going the long way.
Okay.
The 80 grams per 250 mil.
Okay. I'll see if it's gonna match my calculation. 5.4. Right, let me do the calculation how I was gonna do it.
Oh, okay.
So if we say we'll see if it's gonna get there.
Okay
And
then.
see if I'm right now. 169 per 100 grams. And then we
Yes.
require 80 grams for every 150 mils. So which is basically 169, we require 80. Then this is per every 100 grams. And then
Yes.
times 250 divided by 250 on the first one. Because this is per 250. Volt is 250. Is it okay? Is it clear? Why my logic is there? So
The 80 is milligrams, not grams.
oh yes, sorry, you are right. Yeah, let's correct that quickly. So which means if
So
this
it will be
is
0 point.
let's convert this 100 grams here, or we can
Into
convert this 100
milligrams.
grams to milligrams. So which is times, which is gonna be 100,000. I actually remember making this mistake some time back. So this is what we have. So 80
Yes.
divided by 100,000. This is the requirements now per 250 by 250. So the other one is going to be the same thing, but we'll be dealing with 500 on the next one instead of 250.
But it will give the same answer.
Perfect.
Oh, it's per 250 mils. Oh, okay. So it's 500 over 250. Okay, my mistake. Sorry.
500 over 250. Yeah. All right, let's see what we get now. So 169 times 80 divided by 100, 1, 2, 3. Okay, this one is 0.14. So that one will basically be 0.28, yeah? Double of that. 169 times 80 divided by 100, 153, times 500 divided by 250, which is times 2.
0.27.
0.27. That's fine. So I'm sure it's the rounding offs there, but it's acceptable. All right. Taurine, whatever this is, taurine is budgeted at 175 per 100 grams. And you see this story again, eh? 1,000 milligrams is required per 250 for both of those. Right, so okay, it's okay.
Sorry, Danny.
Yeah.
Can you please go back to the formula for the caffeine where you are calculated 0.14? Is that not 10,000? Can you please count the zeros?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
100.
It's 100,000. Is it right?
Yeah, I can see now when you put in
Okay,
the arrow in between. Thank you.
that arrow there.
Yeah.
All right. Then on the taurine here,
We're gonna
okay, so
have 175 is
Times.
required per times 100,000. It's divide by 100. It's divide by 100,000.
All right. So, okay, so this is, okay, so we need, yeah, perfect, divided by, I think it's similar to that there again. Eh? So we are dividing by 100,000 and times 1,000 this time, if we convert them both to milligrams. So I'll put 1,000 divided by 100,000. Yeah?
We say 175
Okay.
times
And for every 250, yeah? So which means it's
Yes.
the same story as that.
is
Yeah?
100.
You got the amounts. Right, let's copy this and paste, and then now it's 500. Yeah?
I'm sorry, please explain to me why we are multiplying by 1,000, because I think this is 175 per 100 grams.
175 per 100 grams. Okay, I'm just going to recheck that. Sorry, let me add some zeros here. And then,
Yeah.
okay. Why we are, okay, we are on this one. Eh? All right, so I think an easier way of doing this, because now I'm also considering presentation sake, eh? But the easier way of explaining, I would say, if it's 175 per 100 grams, so how many milligrams do we have on 100 grams? Would have 100,000, yeah? Based on
100,000
this one. So an easier way would be
divided
to
by
say,
the 175.
yeah. So 175 divided by 100,000,
The
and then you
100,000.
multiply by the 1,000, which is required per 250. So on the other one, it was 80 that was required. So hence we are multiplying by 80 milligrams. On this one now, they want 1,000. So it's going to be 1,000. So for presentation's sake now, I'm just putting it as 175 times 1,000, so that the division is at the end, divided by 100,000, and then times 250 over 250 there, since it's per 250. So here, because there are two 250s, we will probably get double there. Are you answered on that one? Or you need someone else to step in?
Yes, I'm good.
Yeah, good. Okay.
So we have 1.75 if I calculated correctly.
Okay, let's see if we get the same amount. So it's 175 times 1,000.
1,000 over 100,000 multiplied by 1.
175, no?
Yes.
All right.
And then we have 175 divided by 100 times 1,000 divided by 100,000 multiplied by 500 over 250. 3.5. Okay.
3.5. Perfect. So we are all on the same page.
Yes.
All
Oh,
right,
citrus.
what products contain this one? Citrus. All right, so this one, they make sure that they give you things, all of them need to be calculated.
The quantities are so small.
Right, so we have 0.2. I once Googled how many milliliters are there in a liter. You normally forget those ones. Right, so
It's 40 rands per 20 mils.
right. All right, so which means per liter
So it's
manufactured,
200.
we have that. And then the flavoring was budgeted at 40, at 20 rand. So I think one way we can calculate this one is, our per liter, it's 0.2 mils, 0.2 mils. So let's deal with them in mils. So let's say per liter it's 0.2 which is per liter, but we are not dealing with the liter on net, we are dealing with 0.25. Ne? So
Yes.
we've got that there. And then
40
in
over
terms of
40 over
20.
20
Yes, 40 over 20, right? So that we get the
Yeah.
price per milliliter,
per milliliter
right? Times 40 over
over
20.
20.
All right, so let's copy that and then make an adjustment. So for the other one, it's 0.5. Ne? For the other one, it's going to be 0.5 there, which is basically double of that. So imagine you need to think fast in an exam situation.
And you just can't.
Times 0.25 times
Times
40
40 over 20. Okay. Then
Eunice, I will make you deal with
0.2
very large amounts or very small amounts.
These are too small, yo.
Are we getting the same amounts?
Yes.
All right. Right. So we are done with that now. Direct labor costs. Let's see what the story is on our direct labor. So it's 30 Rand per clock hour. So we can as well include the idle time here. And then it takes 10 direct clock minutes to manufacture 1 liter of bolt, and then 8 direct labor clock minutes to manufacture a liter of nerd. So we can start off with our 8, our starting point, and then but each liter we make use of 8 minutes, so which is going to be 8 divided by 60
By 60
per hour, and then again
times
this
30.
is per liter. Then we need to do that 0.25 and 0.5 story.
Yo.
I think this is a little bit easy. So 30 times
0.
one takes, oh, okay, 8 divided by 60. Is it the one?
No. The first one is 10.
The first one is 10. Okay.
Yes.
So let's put that one there on 10. Then the 0.25 is fine for net.
Yes.
Okay, and then the next one is 10. It's 8 divided by
8.
60. Right.
0.5.
Right. 30 times 10 over 60, so 0.25. Okay, I'm getting that. And then 30 times 8 divided by 60 times 0.5, I'm getting 2. Okay.
Oh, the time is not the same. I was wondering why now is not the double.
Yeah. Times they normally make these ones different. Then we have variable manufacturing overheads. So these ones, variable overheads recovery is 12 Rand per hour, and it takes 12 minutes to manufacture 1 liter of energy drink. Okay, so it's the same for both.
So we're going for the machine hours now.
Yeah, the machine hours. So this one, it's let's see, gonna be 12 times 12 divided by 60. Yeah?
Let's go. Let's see. It's 12 rands per hour. It takes 12 minutes. Oh, yeah, it's 12 over 60 times 12 times 0.25.
0.25, yeah? And then 12 times 12 over 60. Yes, the same for both of them, times 0.5 for the other one. Okay. 12 times 12 divided by 60 times 0.25. All right. 12 times 12 divided by 60 times 0.5. Right. I'm getting that. Looks correct. Are we together on that one?
Yes.
Okay. Let's jump now to
The variable selling and distribution
yeah.
costs.
These ones are easy to forget for some reason. So it's 1.1 per unit. So these ones are
That's
standard.
straightforward.
All right. 1.1 and 1.1. All right. Nothing else, no?
No, nothing variable.
Okay, so let's put this under one bracket. All right, so here we need the total, ne, of
Yes.
whatever is inside that box. All right, so from F48 to 56, so 6.39. No, it's more. There it's 18 point.
So much calculation just for 6 rands.
Imagine. Now we have our contribution per unit that we can easily deduct as 17 minus the total variable cost, ne? 1061. So we drag this over the side, our 5.92. All right, so ideally now, because we are dealing with weighted contribution, what do we need? Sales mix there. We need our sales mix, so we need to check. Sometimes, if you are not given the sales mix as a sales mix, look at the budgeted sales units, ne? That will give you the sales mix, the budgeted sales units. Let's see what we have here. All right, here we have both production and sales will be at the rate of 2 cans of bolt for every 1 of net. So it's a 2:1.
Oh, okay.
2:1. Right, so here, okay, let me not run ahead of us. So now we need the weighted contribution, which we're gonna need there. Contribution. To show the calculation there, it's gonna be 10.61 times 2 plus 5.92 times 1. We add up those two. Yeah. So which is basically that times that there. And then let's check the amount. And then we get our total right there plus that. So that should be 27.15, no? 27.15.
So that's the weighted contribution.
That's the weighted contribution right there. So we need to take this amount straight away right here on the 27 point. Say it is 27.15. Yeah? And then we can do our divisions. What do we get if we divide those two amounts there? Let's see. 85,003 divided by 27.15. 3131. Yeah? Oops, I'm writing on the wrong one now. 3131. Let me cancel everything. 31. So we always round up on these ones. Ne? We always take, if there's any number after the comma, we always round it up. Now we need for bolts. It's gonna be 3131 times what's the sales mix? It's 2 for bolts, ne?
Yes.
Okay, so this is gonna be 3131 times 2, right? And then net is, for net, it's 3131 times 1. Okay, this one is basically gonna be the same, 131. Okay, maybe that's 3131 times 1. So these are our amounts here. Done with this question, right? We are finished with this one. Now we should jump to the next one. Any questions, guys? Any questions? We hope this was clear. I hope this was clear. Required A. This is our required A. But it's A what? Let's see. Most of these ones.
It's question 1.
That's it. Okay. All right. Question 1 on A. All right. Now let's go to B. Let's go to B. B is, let me just connect this laptop before it goes flat. Right. Our B is, why is this not charging now? Okay. All right, it's charging. Prepare the actual statement of profit or loss, so which is the income statement for the year. So let's say actual statement of profit or loss. Right. Income statement must contain the column for each product type and a total. So when they want a total now, it's more convenient to do it here on Excel. Ne? Actual income statement. So this is our required B. Ne? Let's write as required B. Right there. Required part B. And then what are we going to need? We will need net. This we need to maintain both of these here. Net and bolt and net. Right.
Yo.
Then again, we will need a total. Ne? Right. All right. So once we are asked to do this, let's quickly rush and investigate which method we are using. Ne? Here they never said, so let's check what method they use. Is it absorption costing or variable costing? So they are using the absorption costing.
Absorption
system, so
costing.
you will have to stick to that one. Right, so that is going to be sales, cost of sales. Ne?
Mhm.
And then what's going to be on cost of sales? Opening inventory.
Opening inventory.
I think we don't have that, but we'll just recheck the actual statement. And then let's say total cost of production. Production, right? And then
Closing inventory.
Inventory. Right. So whatever we do there, after our deduction, we are going to get gross profit.
Yes.
We're gonna get gross profit. So, and then we can then deal with where do we deal with the under and over recovery? By the way, maybe let's put it there. There are two ways in which people deal with it. Some of them deal with it after gross profit. Some of them deal with it before gross profit. Last year, I think someone had said they are gonna investigate for us. I can't remember now what happened, what we agreed on, but let's just put it before. Ne? Under and over recovery or absorption. Ne? Right. So if these here, right, let's see how we are going to work this out. So just be careful here on how we are going to work it out, particularly when we come over the side, ne? The figures, whether we're adding or subtracting. So if we say by definition and under recovery, we are basically saying we under absorbed our expenses here, so we should add up our expenses. So here we can as well come and make it negative as an expense. So keep in mind the logic of doing that. Ne? So we are saying the expenses that are included here have been under absorbed. Right? Our production has been under absorbed, so we need to deduct more. So if it's over, then we need to add. So in addition means our gross profit is going up, and under means our gross profit is going down. So you can basically do it anyhow, but the result must be the same, right? So our total cost of production, let's put this on working on calculation 1. Yeah? We do a calculation on that, and then our closing inventory, we can then do that on calculation number 2. So we are going to be strategic now in our workings. Ne? And then this one we'll put on calculation number 3. over and under recovery. And then from there, other expenses, ne? Other expenses. So this will obviously include, we'll see, selling and distribution. But let's work it out now. We are going on the actual information, ne? Which is right here. Right, for both Bolt and Net, the number of cans sold was 20% lower than the budgeted. So we are dealing with the sales now, and then the company sold that at 20 rand. So excuse me, at 20 rand and at 25. Maybe let's start off our workings. Let's put our one as sales then, so that we avoid congesting our statement there. So remind me as we go down to make adjustments on the amount, on the referencing, sorry, for our calculations. It's calculation, so it's the sales. Right. What is the units now? What are the sales units? So let's go and check. So it has to be 20% lower. It has to be 20% lower for both of them. So let's have a look at what the budget was. So our budget, we intended to sell, the budget to produce 15 million cans and sell 12 million cans.
20% less than the previous one.
The previous one, eh? So which means, which is 12 million.
That would be lower than the budget.
Right.
So let's get the budget.
All right. Units, okay, yeah, let's get the budgeted units. Since this is for class purposes, budgeted units. So it's basically for sales, né? It's 12 million. Right. It's given there as 12 million, but we are selling this at different ratios for both net and at a sales mix of 2:1. Ne? So we need to watch out for that there according to the budget. Let's see if there was a change on that, if they mentioned anything on the changes there. Okay, but they simply said it was just 20% lower, so which means it's still maintained on the same ratio. They also said it here, both products and were produced and sold in the same budgeted ratio. So we maintain that ratio as given. So which is a ratio of 2:1.
2:1. It's 2/3.
2/3. Perfect.
And the other
then
one
the other
is 1/3.
Right, times 1 divided by 3. So if it's a ratio of 2:1, what we basically do is you want to take that 2 and 1 and you add them together to have your total, right? So let's make this one net. Oh, it starts with Bolt, ne?
Bolt, yes.
Right, and then it goes up to net. Right, so we do the calculation there. 12,123,123 times 2 divided by 3.
8 million.
8 million, ne?
The other one
And
should
here
be 4.
should be 4 million, ne? 12,123 divided by 3. That's 4 million. All right. So these are our sales. And then what about selling price? Ne? We can get the selling price here. Selling price. So one was 20 and the other was 25. Let's say
25.
20 and 25. Okay. 20 and 25.
Total sales, budgeted sales.
Yeah. Oh, but now these wait. Oh yes, these are budgeted. Why don't you just apply? Why don't you just apply that 80% ones?
Okay, I was gonna ask if we're gonna apply it after we get the total.
Total, or I think let's just apply it on the units there.
Okay.
Okay, okay, let me just correct that working there for it to make sense. Ne? All right, let's see here.
Should be yes.
Supposed to be times 80% there.
The times.
Okay, and then there again, right, times 80%. It will make no sense like that. And then we take this one out. Right, so let's see here what we did. So that was actually look what's going on now. That's times 80%. So that will give us 6.4 and then that one.
Okay, selling price for net is 25.
25 here, ne?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So let's say revenue or sales revenue. So that one is going to be given as that times that one. It's what I normally do. I normally just put this straight on the as a working there. Right. So we want this understandable. So let's do this. Right. We want to see how our numbers look like. K. Let's put that on financial. Right. So this is our sales for soft balls. We have that there. And then for net, we have that amount right there. And then here we want the total. Ne?
Yeah.
Right. So this total, we are going to apply it all the way. Ne? We're going to apply it all the way. Oops, no,
Hi.
not what I want. All right, so this is what we want. All right, so we are done with that first part and our referencing is okay. So let's look at our total production costs now. Our total production costs. On our working number 2, it's total production costs. Let's put this down there. So now we are on working 2.
Number 2.
Total production costs. So this is where calculations need to come in now. Okay, so we can
Kilograms.
do per, first do per kg and then or per unit, and then we deal with the totals later. So we can also apply that on closing inventory. Either way, let's see what's on the question. So we are done with this here. So we know that production again occurred using the same ratio. All right, so the actual number of cans sold was 20% lower than the cans bought, and then the company sold at that price, and then the products were produced and sold using the same budgeted ratio. Okay, so far what has been maintained is the ratio. Let's see the units produced, what they have to say on about that. If there's anything there, that we will see as we move along.
There's no
So
opening inventory.
no opening inventory for starters. Okay, so we'll keep that on 0 there, but it's fine. So Quench is investigating possible contamination of one of its reservoirs. The supplier used an alternative source and short supplied EDD on water, resulting in both net and bolt and net being produced 20% less than the budgeted. So let's just put up the production, budgeted production, or let's say actual production, like what we did there. So let's correct that, since we had written there budgeted. Let's just say
it was actual now.
Now it's actual.
Okay.
Right. Actual production. So I think it was 15 million, if I remember that. It was 15 million from the question. So 15 million times 2 divided by 3, since that is being maintained and it's 20% less, so it's going to be at that there. And then again, we take the same amount, 15 million times 1 divided by 3 times that's less by 80%. So we put that at that there. Okay. 1, 2, 3.
Where did you get the 15 million?
Times 2 divided by 3. Right, I'm going to check that now and ensure that I'm also correct. I'm assuming that it was 50 million, but we'll recheck now. But it must be the production, the budgeted production. 3 divided by 3 times 0.8. Right, let's see what our budgeted production was here, that 15 million cans. So which means our sales,
okay.
we pick them up there and yep. All right. So let's see what our water cost is going to be. So that's just on the production there. Right. And then, okay, so we're not given any costs so far on that, resulting in both being produced 20% less. And then they've decided not to test the water etc. So this is just for the number of units, no opening inventory. Happy about that. Due to labor strikes, resignation as a result of wage rate disputes, the company was forced to hire new laborers. And then the new laborers had to learn the production process and received limited supervision on the use of machinery. These laborers took 12 clock minutes to manufacture 1 liter of bolts and then 9 to manufacture that one, and they were paid 22 rand. So let's look at, now let's deal with the costs per unit. Yeah?
Yeah.
All right. So we can start off with labor, direct labor. All right. So the story for bolts was, now they are doing it 12 per clock minute. So it's 22 times 12 divided by 60, and then times that quantity. The same way that we were doing up there, but now we are using 12. So it's gonna be, so let's start off with 22 price times 12 divided by 60, right? And then this is per liter.
6 for what?
What are, so is it
Oh,
what are the
per
quantities?
unit.
250, yeah. So times
0.25.
250. Right. And then the other one was 9, divided
Yes.
by 12, divided by 60, sorry, times 0.5. Okay, and we'll calculate that one later. And then it's nothing else on that. And then the key suppliers of caffeine was placed under liquidation. So as a result, the requirement was an award-winning supply of 186 per 100 grams. And then, however, 70 grams of caffeine was used for every 250. So it's still the same story.
Another calculation of caffeine.
Yeah. So because we're not cramming, we can pretty much repeat it here, the same methodology. So we are saying it's 186 per every 100 grams, but we are using that one there, 70. So 186 times 70 divided by 100. Yeah? 186 times 70 divided by 100. Let's check if they haven't started that milligram story. It's the one.
It's a milligram, yes. No, it's a gram. It's a milligram. It's 100,000.
Divided by 100,000. Yeah?
Yes.
That story has started now. See, so then
Times 0.250.
All right. And then we repeat the same thing. 186 times 70 divided by 100,000 times. This time is going to be 500. Yeah. Perfect. Okay, so we'll do the calculation later. Hey, so you see, if you miss the first one, you're already doomed.
So the water, sugar, artificial sweetener, same standard quantity was used in the budgeted price.
I love this. So
are we I was gonna ask if we're gonna copy that.
Yeah. So which one? It's water and sugar, ne?
Water and sugar and the citrus.
What about artificial sweetener? Is it the same?
Yes, and the sweetener, yes.
All right. Let's take those. This is good news. You don't have
and
to
then the
repeat
last one would
everything.
be the citrus.
Is it also the same?
Yes.
All right.
And taurine.
Taurine also the same?
Yes.
Yo. They're being kind to us. All right. Yo, this is nice. So where are we? So water, sugar, artificial sweeteners, citrus is all, and taurine is all purchased at the same price there. And then variable manufacturing overheads. Variable manufacturing overheads. Now, these ones, this is the story, this is the story. So now they are doing at 13 rands per hour, and now it's taking 15 machine hours. So it takes 15 machine minutes. So the same story, but now we are using 13 and using 15. All right, so 13 and 15. So our VMO, so it's gonna be
13 times 15 over 60 times
That's
0.5.
Mm-hmm.
0.25, yes.
And then 13 times 15 over 60 times 0.5.
Yes.
Okay, we have that.
Then the fixed manufacturing overhead.
Okay, maybe those one we'll deal with. Let's just say total.
Is variable cost per unit.
Yeah, variable cost per unit. So we can even specify and say variable manufacturing cost per unit. Yeah? Right, so let's do our calculations. Let's hope we get the same amount. 22 times 12 divided by 60 times 0.25, 1.1. 22 times 9 over 60 times 0.5. Right, I think it's correct.
Yeah.
Okay, 186 times 70 divided by 100, 123. We get that there. Okay, we do that again. 186 times 70 divided by 100,000. Okay, times 500 divided by 250 is 2. Ne? Okay, just about double of that amount. 2 times 900 divided by 1000 times 0.25. 2 times 900 divided by 1000 times 0.5. And then 25 times 0.16 times. This is for balls, I believe. This is just for balls. This one is for sweetener. 162 times 0.11 times 0.5. Okay, we have that huge amount there. Here it's 175 times 1000 divided by 100,000. Okay. Then here again it's equal to 175 times 1000 divided by 100,000, 123 times 500 divided by 250. Okay. Citrus 0.2 times 0.25. It's okay, times 15 divided by 60. But what I would ideally have done in an exam, we put to just equal and grab the amount from the top.
No, you said times 15. It's supposed to be times 40 out of 20.
Times 40
Can you
out of
go
20.
back to the calculation?
All right, I think let's correct it quickly. All right, let me restart the
Times,
calculation.
yes, it's times 40 out of 20.
All right, times 40 out of 20, so times 0.25 times 40. Yes, out of 20, you're right. And then here it's going to be 0.2 times 0.5 times 40 over 20. Right, and then here 13 times 15 over 60 times 0.25. Okay, and then here it's 13 times 15 over 60 times 0.5. Right. Now we have the variable cost per unit. Yeah?
Yes.
Now we have the variable cost per unit. So is this starting from 94? Yeah? 94 is there. So I agree with that assessment. All right, there we go. Oops. There we go. Right, so to get the total cost, would obviously multiply by the actual units manufactured there. But I think let's first of all get the fixed cost per unit. Yeah? Let's get the fixed cost per unit. Why so? Because we again need to calculate the difference between units produced and units sold for closing inventory. So we need the unit costs of both fixed and variable. All right. So now here is the trick. For our costing purposes, we make use of budgeted information. Yeah. So though the
Okay,
actual fixed
Ntando,
manufacturing, yeah.
sorry to disturb you. Can we
Mhm.
go back 1.27 and reread?
Okay.
It says a recovery rate per machine hour was 13 rands per hour, and it took 15 minutes, machine minutes to manufacture 1 liter of NED energy drink, while Bolt was manufactured at the standard machine time, which means the 13 rands doesn't affect Bolt.
Doesn't affect Bolt. All right, I see. You are right.
According to my understanding.
why do you put a disclaimer now and say according to my understanding? You are right.
Aibo, English is difficult, yo.
So we only did this part, the first part there.
I
the
think
other
it
one
only applies to NED.
to NED. So Bolt is manufactured at the standard machine time. You are right. So what was the standard machine time for Bolt? Let's quickly correct that now.
We have to go back and scroll up.
I think it was 12, ne?
Yeah, I
Was that
think it
12,
was 12.
12. Right. So let's correct that there. Thank you for that, Ne. Thank you for checking that for us. So it's 12 and 12. 120. All right. So we are happy now with everything.
Yeah, I'm happy. Thank you.
All right. So now we are dealing with the fixed costs now. So I was saying fixed costs make use of budgeted production costs. So we actually make use of budgeted production costs. So let's see. Okay, so actual fixed manufacturing overheads were given as that and that, right? But for the sake of valuation of inventories, we make use of the budgeted information. So this will make use of when we're now doing the over or under recovery there.
Oh,
so let's see how much our budget was. So fixed manufacturing overheads are budgeted at 35 million and allocated based on the budgeted machine hours. So which means we need the budgeted machine hours now. All right, so, all right, let's do this. Let's say, all right, budgeted fixed costs. Right, we basically need to calculate our OAR, overhead absorption rate there. So it's a budgeted fixed costs divided by the activity level. Let's just say divided by activity. So what are our budgeted fixed costs? 35 million, is it?
Yes.
Right, so let's put that down there. 1, 2, 3. That's 35 million. And then
there's
the
other budgeted fixed costs for 50 million.
Yeah, those ones, let's just recheck them because we only need the manufacturing ones there.
Okay, all
These
right.
ones are probably selling or something like that. So we need now the budgeted machine hours. Ne? Let's do a calculation.
Okay.
So the budgeted machine hours, based on the budgeted information, it's 12 minutes. So it's going to be 12 minutes to manufacture 1 liter there. That's 12 minutes. So the correct calculation for that is going to be 12.
With the first one.
Yeah, the first one. 12 divided by 60. So we are basically want to look at in terms of budget, what we budgeted to produce. So it's 12 divided by 60.
It was
times
10.
0. All right, wait, let's see, let's check this again.
It was
Here-
10,
Oh, it was 10, sorry, it was 10. Is it 10?
10 minutes for Bolt and 8 minutes for
Oh,
at 30
you are right,
rands
but
per hour. Is it the
on
same
the
one?
labor, ne, we want for, because we are recovering this based on.
Oh, that was the
machine-
labor. Oh, okay, okay, sorry,
Yeah.
my mistake.
So
Let's
which
go
means
for machine hours.
Yeah.
Yes, it's
12
12
minutes
per
basically
hour
gives
and
us-
12 minutes.
Mhm. Yeah. So 12 minutes gives us a liter of each. So we can
Of each,
basically
okay.
say a liter of each. So we can basically say 12 times. So if this one gives us a liter of each, this one is going to be times 0.25 to get the number of liters per unit.
Oh, okay.
Right. And then the number of units, I think we should have it somewhere close by there. The budgeted, ne? It was going to be 15 million
15,000.
times 2/3. Yeah, that one there times 2/3. So if it's
Okay,
the
it's
same
15
for both, we can
times
basically say
2
times
over.
15, ne?
It's 10. It will be 10
Both
million.
10.
Yeah.
All right. So let's just do for both, because if you look here, it's gonna be 1260 repeated again. Oh, no, sorry, you are right. Let's do times 15. Okay, we are right. Let's say times 15 million, but we want to produce how much? We're budgeting to produce at 2.
2 over 3.
I've just remembered that the other one is not 0.25, it's 0.5.
Yes.
So we need to cater for that. So 12 over 60 times 0.5 times 15 million,
Times 1 over 3.
1 over 3. Perfect. So let's drag this amount. Let's put it there. Let's put this one there. All right, so let's see what the calculation gives us here. So 12 over 60 times 0.25 times 15, 1 to 3, 1 to 3 times 2 divided by 3 plus 12 over 60 times 0.5 times 15 million, 1 to 3, 1 to 3 divided by 3. So we get that 100,000 there. I think I remember this amount.
Is it 100,000 or a million? There's a lot zeros there.
0. Right. We are going to adjust that now and see, put those separators. All right, let's see what that amount would be. All right, so
Yeah, it's a million.
million, perfect. So which means here it's gonna be 35, 1 to 3, 1 to 3 divided by 1, 1 to 3, 1 to 3. I think I remember this amount. So I probably did this question before. 35. All right, so fixed cost per unit based on, let's say
35.
this is I 35, ne? 35
Yeah.
and 35. All right. So that's that there. All right. Oh, wait, sorry. My bad. I'm seeing something wrong here. So it can't be 35 and 35 because this here gives us per machine hour, right? This is the OAR per machine hour. So we need to convert that to per unit now. You see, are we together on this one? I don't want to lose anyone. So per unit fixed cost is therefore going to be, so if this 35 is per machine hour, then we basically convert that machine hour into units, right? Which has to be different. So remember, when we're dividing here, what we're basically doing is 35 million is the budgeted fixed costs, production costs, and then our OAR is basically based on on that on the machine hours. So now we need to know how many machine hours are needed to manufacture each of the units. That's simple, right? So of which it's gonna be 12 divided by 60 times what? Times 35, ne? For the first one. What about the second one? 12 divided by 60 is the same, ne?
It's the same.
Yes, because they both require the same
The
machine
same
hours.
amount of our machine hours.
Yes, but the difference now arises on that this one is at 35, but we are only doing what? 0.25. And then this one here, we are doing 0.5. That's where the difference is. Are we together on this one, or should I repeat that? I'm gonna repeat that times 0.25 so that we are all, nobody is lost on that one. All right, let me just put it in first. So it's 12 over 60 times 35 times 0.5. Okay, so what's happening here? This is what's happening. According to the question, we are using our recovery rate is based on what? Per machine hour. And then the machine hours, where do we get the machine hours? We are told that it's 12 minutes to manufacture a liter of energy drink. So both basically works with 12 minutes. So hence it's 12 over 60 times the production. So what we did now there to get our total hours that we require there. For the first one for net, it's gonna be 12 over 60 times, we need 0.25, right, per net. And then that 0.25 is times 15 million, but we're only doing 2/3, manufacturing 2/3 of 15 million. Here it's 12 over 60 times 0.5 times 15 million divided by 1/3, because we are only doing 1/3. A total of that gives you 1 million. So the budgeted cost divided by that activity level basically gives you 35, but it's 35 per what? It's 35 per hour. But the information that we need here is per unit. So we need to convert that now into per unit. So hence we need to know now, given that the rate per hour is 35, then we need to know how many minutes is required to manufacture a liter. We know it's 12 over 60 to manufacture a liter, but we don't need a liter on net, we need 0.25. So hence 35 times 12 divided by 60 times 0.25 will give you the fixed cost per unit. Then we basically do the same on that other one there. So let's take the totals as they are there. All right, so this is our total cost per unit. Total cost per unit. Right, so to complete this now, we will therefore need to get our total production costs to finish up our solution. We need total production costs. Okay, we are gonna add that now, sorry. Total production costs, which is basically
the total cost multiplied by the unit produced.
Yeah, and the cost per unit.
Yes.
All right, so
You
now
need
let's
to add
add
first.
that and that. Then here we can as well add that and that there. I got it wrong. Okay, add that and that. There we go. So the number of units, I think we have them on top there. That's where we started off on the actual production. So we have that there. So we simply multiply the two. So this is our solution for the first part. All right, so let's take the total and put it where? On the cost of production, right? Total cost of production. So we take it, total cost of production. Did I put that right? All right, yes, it's perfect. So let's drag that there. Opening inventory, we say it's 0, so we keep it at that. There, right. Now we need closing inventory. That's gonna be on working number 3.
Find closing inventory.
Right. So closing inventory, we need the units first. Ne? We need the units first. So this is working 3, I presume. Closing inventory. So obviously we need to get production. Ne? Let's say units produced, and then units sold. There it will give us the closing inventory after we deduct that. Ne? Inventory, and then let's say cost per unit, like total cost per unit, which is that one there, which we just calculated. Right, so we're basically trying to be strategic on that. Ne? We're just trying to be strategic on that. So what are the units produced? So the units produced, where are they? Let's fetch them again on top there. This is our actual production. Ne?
Yes.
So we fetch that there and put it right there, actual production. What about actual units sold? We go up again. I think we had that the actual production. Okay, sales revenue, actual units sold, right there. Ne? And then you can fetch that again there. Oh, okay, sorry, I've gone a bit far. All right, so obviously what we produced against what we sold is going to give us the closing inventory. All right, so that minus that gives us the closing inventory. All right, then we have that there. What about the total, the unit, the cost per unit? It's here, we just calculated it. Ne? We take that there. Take it as it is. Closing inventory value. All right, so the closing inventory value is going to be that one there times the unit cost. Right, so this is, I hope it's straightforward. Sorry. Let's pull that here. All right. So let's put it over this side. Maybe we'll make it negative. Yeah? Closing inventory on calculation number 3. Cost per unit, there you go. All right, so we have that there. Let's drag it over. Hey, let's drag it over there. All right, let's drag it over there. All right, so on the issue of our under and over recovery, this is going to be on our calculation number 4. Ne? It's going to be on calculation number 4. Another easy one, another easy calculation. All right, let's put a separator there. Let's put a separator there. I think how would want to put it? Let's put a separator there so that we can easily come up with our cost of sales there. But again, how you do this is entirely up to you. You can change anytime, yeah? Just as long as the principle is okay. So our gross profit should therefore be sales
minus cost of sales plus
we
under and over
recovery. Then we arrive at our gross profit there. Okay. So let's deal with the under or over recovery. So let's see here with the under or over recovery. Let's say now it's on working number 4, né? On calculation number 4. Let's go right down. Okay, I overwent now. Right. calculation number 4 in that one. So there's just a lot of things to do on this paper. Right. So what do we need? We need the actual
production,
manufacturing costs. Let's say
manufacturing costs.
manufacturing costs. Right. And then here we can
The
say manufactured
budgeted.
cost, budgeted or absorbed. Ne?
Yes.
Absorbed. I think this is the right spelling there. Right, so the actual is given. Let's fetch it quickly. The actual, I think we can simply go down there and we see what they're saying. The actual is so 17.61, 17,610,123. All right, and then
16.98 million.
16.98 million. 16.98 million. Right. Now let's
They
have a look at,
absorbed, we just calculated it.
yeah. So which is basically what's going to be in terms of our, right there. Ne? So what is our fixed cost? Sorry, I've gone too far. Per unit fixed cost, so we've got 1.75 and 3.5. So it's going to be 1.75 times what we manufactured and then 3.5 times what we manufactured. So we're only taking into consideration the fixed cost. Yeah?
Okay.
So this is going to be, we said it's 1.75.
1.75.
Right, 1.75. What did we manufacture? We specifically said it was going to be 15 million times 2
Times 2 over 3.
Right, and then on the other one, right,
It's
whatever the amount is times 15 million divided by 3. So we'll check the amount now. Let's see what that amount is. 3.5.
3.5.
Okay, so it's 3.5 times that there. So that's what was absorbed. So we are only considering the fixed costs here because that's where our issue is. Right, so 1.75 times 15, 123 times 2 divided by 3. It's going to give us the one for that one. There you see the amounts are quite close. 3.5 times 15, 123 divided by 3. Right, pretty close again. Then we can get our difference there. So let's analyze now. So if our actual that we incurred is more on that one, okay, let's just say, all right, let's first calculate so that we decide which one is negative and which one is positive there. And then let's reapply that because I see they are not the same, right? I see they are not the same there. So if our actual there is bigger than our manufactured, what does it mean? It means we under absorbed. Yeah?
Yeah.
So let's just say under and over in the same.
Which
way.
one is the expense?
So the one that the actual expense is this one that we should have put up, but we put this big amount there and then that other big amount. So it means we overdid that there.
So does that mean the under would be the expense and the over would be the income?
And so now in this instance, it means this under now, because we under absorbed.
So we have a surplus.
Yeah. Yes, we have a surplus. So we're supposed to put up, we're supposed to put up 1.6, 1.76, but instead we put up 1.75. So which means we need to have an extra expense there. You understand it?
That extra expense in our statement there of profit and loss, are we adding or subtracting that extra expense?
Let's subtract it. So which means when we import these figures here, we'll then need to, all right, I think, let's see.
I always get confused when it comes here.
Yeah.
The over and the
So I
under.
think, yeah, what we wrote here is fine, and under will come and deduct, but on that calculation, it's a little bit mixed up, but you can always vice versa it. Maybe we should, eh?
You know, it's a question of understanding the principle. It doesn't matter how it looks.
Yeah. Right, so this we can pull it through. So the logic on this now, let's just go back in case there's anyone who missed it. The logic on this is this manufactured fixed money. What did I write here? I shouldn't have wrote manufactured overheads, manufacturing overheads. I should say manufacturing overheads absorbed. This is what we put in our calculations there. Remember, we used this 1.75 to calculate our gross profit. But the amount that we put is less than the amount that was actually incurred. So hence we have an extra expense that we need to deduct of that. Here we're over. So this is gonna come in as, basically this is gonna come in as an extra income, right? Because we actually put up more there at 175, but we actually incurred less.
If it's an extra income, why is it a negative in our profit and loss statement?
So it's only negative here on the calculations.
On the calculation.
Yes, but when it comes here, then we need to, this one needs to be a deduction. So we need to vice versa these here.
Okay, now it makes sense. I've always had a problem with the under and the over.
And the over.
Me, I'm still lost.
Okay, I think the problem is my working. Let me sort out my working. Let me fix my working there.
Okay, let's have the budgeted on top and then the actual. On top. Yes. Just switch the lines.
Let's switch them. I think it would make more sense like that. Eh?
Yes, right, so because now you. Because the budgeted is the expense that we have in our budget, and then the actual is what we actually expensed. Then we have that surplus, which means it's going to be our income. Yes. But now the calculation is making it vice versa.
It's making it vice versa. So let's put this number there because I want to import. Right, wait, can I delete this and we re-put the amounts there?
Just include another row. Oh,
another row, okay. Let's take this out. Let's take this one out. And then we maintain what we started on top there. Under is going to be negative, né? And then over is going to be. Right, so we are saying when it's under, we want to deduct it. So let's put it as brackets there. All right. So our calculation here was 1.75 times 15,123 times 2 divided by 3, right? That amount that we got, I think it was the similar amount there, times 15,123 divided by 3, right?
Yes.
And then now,
then we go to the actual.
The actual, né? So our actual was 1761,123. And then
16.98.
16.98. 123. Right.
Okay.
So let's do it like that now. So now we want to do it this way.
Minus.
Né?
Okay, yes.
And there. Minus again. So we are going to take them as they are.
Okay.
So we're saying, why is it under? Because we recovered, we basically absorbed 117.50, but we actually
incurred 176. Okay, now it makes sense. It's an extra expense.
Extra expense there. And then that one we incurred
is an income, it's a surplus.
A surplus. All right, let's put that there. All right, so this is going to be corrected now. Let's take the amounts as they are. Ne? Especially for an assignment, this is how it should be. it should basically make sense like that. So that's what we have.
Okay, now it makes sense. It becomes an
Now it's
income, not an expense.
All right, then our gross profit is basically, okay. All right,
Let's
before we
have
get there,
our cost of
let's
sale
get our
total
cost of
first.
sales. Yeah. So it will be opening plus manufacturing minus that one there. So let's drag it right there. Right. So what is our gross profit?
Sales less cost of sales.
Right. So on the formula now, I'm putting minus because this is positive, né? Minus.
And then we'll
But
have
if you,
to,
yeah, and then this one, it's a plus like that. So just be careful if you're using Excel there, because these amounts,
oh yeah, if it's a minus, it's
appear
gonna add
negative.
it.
Yeah. Or maybe let's do minuses, né? Let's do minuses, and then I'm just gonna correct that negative there to positive, that one, for the sake of the presentation, so that the marker can see that these amounts are negative there. All right, perfect, né?
Okay.
I think, where was I? On sheet 2.
I get not plant and equipment.
Right, so we have our gross profit now. Right, other expenses. So on other expenses, we would obviously need to have selling and distribution, eh? And distribution, this one is fixed. We're gonna see what that one is. And then actual.
It is R120 per unit sold.
All right, R120 per unit sold. So it's gonna be 1.2 times we sold. We're using 12 times 2/3, né?
15,000.
So 1.2. All right. But now our
Oh,
sales,
the
remember, we are
actual.
doing on
Oh,
sales.
okay.
Yeah. 1.2 times 12, 123 times. Oh, sorry, we need to do times 0.8, né? Hey, this thing times 1 divided by 3. Right.
Which one is 0.8?
All right. Or maybe better yet, wait. Let's see. We calculated that.
I
the
think we
actual unit
did
cost.
calculate something like that.
Yeah, let's take them
Yes.
as they are, né? So this is what? 6,400,000.
Times 1.2.
All right. It's easier like that. All right. So we need the actual sales. So it's gonna be 6 million. Excuse me. And then here,
400,000.
excuse me, it's what, 400,000 or 4 million, is it? Oh, sorry, no. It's here. We need this one.
3,200,000.
Yeah, 3,200,000.
Yes.
Right, perfect. So let's put it down here. This is gonna be 1.2 times 6,400,123. And then we do the same there. 1.2 times 3,200,123. Right, we have that there.
We
Then
have
we have
the
budgeted
other
fixed cost
budgeted
were-
fixed cost of 55 million.
Right, other budgeted costs were, okay, these ones. So which means other fixed costs, let's just say, other fixed costs are 55 million. So we're going
So
to
are we gonna apportion them according to their machine hours, or how are we gonna apportion these ones?
I think they said machine hours, ne?
Yes, they said machine hours.
All right. So let's just say other fixed costs. Let's put that on working 5. Ne? Let's put that on working 5. So how much is it? It's 55 million. So let's go down. Let's go down and put working number 5. Right, working number 5.
Other
Right, so
fixed.
other fixed costs. All right. Yes, that whole story now is beginning. So we are basically doing the same thing that we did here. Ne?
Here in the budgeted costs, we have the
Yeah.
the machine hours is 12/60.
12 over 60. All right. So now we'll just change those amounts to the ones that we want now. Hours is how much? Is it 50 million?
It's 55 million.
55 million. Okay,
Yes.
so hours is going to be 55 million there. So the machine hours is the same, né?
Yes, it's the same.
Same information. You see now that saves you a lot of time having to rewrite that thing. So, okay, this will give us 55, né? It will give us 55.
Yes.
Okay, so let's put that 55 there. All right, then now we need that per unit. So we are multiplying, changing that there to 55 instead of 35. You see how that saves us time. So this is going to be 1260.60 times 55
Times
right,
0.25.
0.25. Right, and then here it's going to be 1260 times 55 times 0.5. Right, but now we'll need the units.
We'll have
manufactured.
2.75.
Right, is it 2 point, the ones that, or 2.5.5? No? What were the units manufactured now? Okay, we have them
It's
here.
the
no? Let's
80,
take
it's
them.
the closing inventory
Mhm.
calculation, yes.
All right, very close. All right, now we are multiplying, né?
Yes.
Times 2.75. It gives us that there. So this is
And then we're dividing by
budgeted
the
cost, okay.
55 million.
Wait, are we supposed to divide wait again? But we need a total, so it's fine like this. Because here now it's coming as a total.
So which
you
means
can
it's
see-
half and half. Because
It
fixed
looks like-
cost,
It looks like it. Then you put it down and then we assess it. All right. So why it looks the same, why it ends up becoming half and half is this part here on the calculation. Right, if you look at all right, 2/3 here and that 1/3, that one there is this amount here, sorry, this here is that times 2 for starters, then that 0.25 is 0.5 times 2. So those times 2's end up canceling each other there. Because there was
okay, I was gonna ask if,
Mhm.
aren't we using that 2.75 against that 55 million? Or we have to work against the total units manufactured?
Okay.
Or we
I think-
only use the
Yeah.
machine hour against that cost?
Okay, so what we did here, and first of all, we need to use, I think they said we should, okay, we need to use this based on the manufacturing, because we assume that it's the same context with the other fixed costs. So hence we are using the unit manufactured there to maintain, it's got hardly anything to do with sales. Yeah. All right,
Okay.
and then when you look at now here on the per fixed cost, per unit fixed cost, we first of all used our 55 million there as our budgeted fixed cost. And then our activity level was 1 million. So which is where this overhead absorption rate of 55 is coming from. And then that 55, we came and put it where? Where did we put the 55? Oh, okay, no, we came and put that 55 there to get the per unit cost. So we're saying 12 over 60 is per liter, but we are only doing 0.25. And then 55 is also per that rate there, given the hour. Right, and then we do again 1260 times 55 times 0.5. So they give us these amounts. Then these amounts, we multiply them by the units manufactured. So why I was saying now, it ends up being the same amount, like half, is because here, while it's 0.25, here it's 0.5. So there's a difference of dividing by 2 there. And then while
Oh,
there it's
okay.
it's 2/3, there it's 1/3. So these cancel each other if you look at them in total now.
Okay.
All right, so I think we are done with this part of the question. Ne? We simply need to put up, we don't have any other costs. Ne? I don't think we have any other costs, but let's just recheck before we conclude the session or this part. Right, so nothing else. We ended there, nothing else. Right.
So do we calculate the net profit or we leave it at that point?
Now, I think now we then need to calculate the net profits. Ne? So
Okay.
let's first get our total for this, and then we can get our net profit.
We can also make the expenses to be negative.
Oh yeah, yeah. All right. That's nice. Consistency.
Yes.
All right. So let's make that negative. There we go. Right. Moment of truth, whether we are making a loss or a profit. Ne? Let's find
Yes.
that out here.
Wow. That's a lot. Oops.
Use different counts from these amounts. All right. So let's keep that one bold, and then we keep the other net profit bold. So let's see what questions we are left with, because I'm really tired now.
Hi, boo.
Right, so we've done A and B and the other part. We've done A and B. Well, can we just quickly do C, since it's just 6 marks now? And then we know that we are left with D, E. These we can schedule for tomorrow. Ne? And then F also. F is not so long. And then we'd also deal with I and J.
Okay, that question, what was the question? C.
Question C.
Question C, the ethical concerns. One was the water being tested.
All right, let's write that down. And this is where we are. Ne? So we are going to require C. Required part C. So ethical concerns. Ne?
Yes.
Right.
Somewhere there was a problem with the water.
Not being tested. I think I remember that part.
Yeah, so I'm still trying to find it in the question.
All right. Oops.
But they didn't test the water. That's an ethical
Yeah.
concern. They knew there was a problem with the water, but they didn't test.
They are not going to test the water. All right.
Because they're avoiding the cost. They're waiting for the supplier
Avoiding
to
the
test
cost.
the water.
All right, so let's check. So we are checking ethical, social, and ethical. So we've decided to start with the ethical. So obviously on that 2022 financial year, ne? Let's go and check the information. Probably it's on the.
It's
It's here, ne?
1.2.2.
1.2.2.
Yes.
These ones here. All right.
0.2 on top.
Right. Oh, okay. We are starting
A little
from
bit
the
up.
top. Ne? From
Yes.
here. This one here.
Yes.
Right. So they said they would rather wait. They decided not to test the water and rather wait.
For
All
the
right.
results of the supplier. That's my
All right.
opinion anyway. And 1.2.4, where
The
they
labor
had
strikes.
resignations and they decided to employ people paying them below the minimum wage and employing some undocumented foreign workers.
All right. So how do we put that across?
I don't know which one is the third one. help, please, guys.
All right. So maybe what we can do, let's see on the issue of labor here, what went on. There were strikes and resignations. Then the new laborers took 12 and they were paid 22 per hour. We are on that, ne?
Yes.
The company has aggressively managed labor costs by paying below minimum wages. I think there are two issues here: paying below minimum wages and employing undocumented foreign workers.
Oh, all
Those are
right.
the two
So
issues.
that makes it 3. We need 3 points.
All right. So let's say
Paying
what was the
below
first one?
minimum wage.
All right. Let's just say remunerating
Below minimum wage.
employees below minimum wage, and then
employing
employing
undocumented foreign
documented
workers.
foreign workers. All right, let's look at the social.
There was ethical and social. Oh, okay.
Ethical and social, yeah. All right, let's see what we can pick out from there. Right, so I'm so tired now.
I
Right,
am
so-
tired too.
So social factors, so we're looking at things that can, all right, let's just peruse through, and then when we get standard, we can then, yeah.
Okay, with 1.2.1, doing the aggressive advertising campaign and pitching the product as premium, isn't that something that we should put?
Oh, yes, yes. They pitching them
It's
as premium
unethical,
when
ne?
they are not.
Yes.
All right, so let's say, is it false advertising or what do you call it?
It's
Yeah,
false
false
advertising.
That's ethical, ne?
That's social.
Also.
Is it social? Isn't it social?
What do
Oh,
you
sorry,
think?
social. I don't know.
What do you guys think? I think it applies. This one can apply on both, ne?
Yes.
Because first of all, it will be unethical to do such a thing. So maybe if we put that as unethical, if we decide that we classify this as unethical, which it is false representation, ne? Then I think we can say this can be a
The
social factor.
remuneration. Oh, okay. The social.
Yeah, I think this one can be a social factor, a social concern. So we need 2 now. We need 2. Okay. And being produced 20% less. All right, let's see the aggressive advertising. All right, let's just go down and see. 22 clock hours. One of the key suppliers of caffeine was placed under liquidation, and the results sourced caffeine from an award-winning supplier. Okay, nothing there was the same. Hi, what do you guys think? All right.
Also, the
think of
water
some-
thing is a social. Because
Yes,
now it's
and
affecting the society.
they're using 70 milligrams caffeine instead of 8.
Yes, why? Okay, let's see. Let's assess that one there. Because now it feels like we are being cheated now on that issue. All right. However, only 70.
Now.
Yeah. So maybe, yeah, I think I would agree with that. So maybe let's take this and put it as a social, ne? This
Okay.
applies also as a social, ne?
Yes.
And then the caffeine becomes unethical to use 70 instead of 8.
Okay.
Are we together on that one?
Yes, but I'm sure in their labeling they won't
So we
say
can say-
70%.
Yeah, so undercutting of caffeine. Undercutting of caffeine. So we just need one more here. We just need to think quickly now, and we knock off. All right. So it's okay. Sources and short supply ETT.
I think
Alright.
we need to revise the one for the water that they don't taste. What if the supplier didn't taste it too? It's not gonna affect the customers.
It
All right,
does,
so
it
how-
does. By the time they're waiting for the supplier to test, they're continuing with their operations,
What
which
if
means
the
they are
supplier?
selling contaminated water to customers.
Yes, because even the supplier can cheat them and say they tested it.
Yes, when they haven't tested the water.
Yeah, but I don't know how to put it.
let's just say selling likely contaminated water
Yes.
or making use of, let's say making use. Okay, let's say making use of likely contaminated water.
Yeah, because even the supplier can say they tested it while they didn't, because they also want to supply more.
Yes, so you are right. So which means here when we talk of water not being tested, they are being unethical for starters. But now it becomes a social problem. If let's say the supplier said the water is tested and they don't test the water, so which means socially they are now selling contaminated water too.
Yes.
Okay. So
Yeah.
this is safe. I think, can we make a session tomorrow where we will do what's left? Okay, we did this. All right, we'll evaluate. So we are left with I, and then we are left with this one here. This is a lot easy, by the way. So E, F, and I. So this is also very easy, by the way.
We can
right.
hear from you. We are always available.
Okay.
Well, we
I
need
think
to
tomorrow-
submit.
Oh, so what should I do now on this? Should I make it available now when it's still short?
Yes,
Or
please. So we just keep the drafts
you'll be
going.
updating?
Yes.
Okay, that's fine. Next time,
But-
okay, that's fine.
But I think you can make a session in the morning, maybe, if I'm not sure,
In the morning.
So that now we can continue revising the one that we did, because this is too much already for 3 hours.
This is a lot. Yeah, this is a lot.
This is a lot
Right.
and still remaining.
All right. So tomorrow, what time then?
What time you are
How is
available?
9?
I think I'll be awake by 9.
You'll be awake by
Hoping
9.
I will be.
Waking
Yeah.
by 9.
Hi, but guys, life is tough for sure.
Bo, 9 o'clock. By that time,
Yes.
somebody in America already made $1 million.
Hi, guys, I can't.
Okay, let's make it 8. At least we will listen while we're in bed.
Yeah, that's the advantage here. Okay, so let me share
Hi,
this
but guys,
document.
I need to be at my study desk with my book calculator, my 2 screens. I use 2 screens. The one screen just makes me dumb.
You will put it on your bed.
All right, 8 is fine. I'll do my best.
So 8.
Thank you.
So we agree for 8.
Yes.
All right, that's fine. So let me share this document. I think I'll do also the other
For the
financial
702,
management,
please.
702. Then
Thank you so
3702,
much.
I think we won't have a class, ne? Because I'll just update because we only had a few things left there. I'll just update and then share.
All right. Thanks.
Thank you so much.
Perfect, guys. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.